Hare Krishna. Welcome to my Radha Madhav channel. This is Sindhu here. Very happy to be associating with you all again after a short break. I'm sure you must have got the notification of my previous videos about lust. Hope you enjoy. Okay, now let me start with a small prayer and introduction. A very interesting topic today. Why has Krishna created us? Why has Krishna created this miserable world? Why did God create us? Okay, we'll start with a small prayer. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pasharya Deshatharini. Hare Krishna. Before going into the topic, very significant question, isn't it? Why has Krishna created us in the first place? Why Lord created this world? Why has He left us here? We keep asking ourselves this question, isn't it? We keep asking ourselves and we keep asking others also. What are we doing here? If the Supreme Lord, if He's really so kind and if He's so loving, then what are we doing here? So to answer this question, why He created this world, so my dear friends and devotees, we should understand that the Supreme Lord loves us, and when He loves us, He gives us the freedom and independence, right? We have heard of the saying, when you love something, set it free, right? When it comes back to you, it is yours. If not, it never was. Like, that's a very beautiful saying. So whether to utilize this independence or reject it, it is our choice. He always gives us a free will, but how we use this, what is the path we choose, so that determines our destiny. So for example, to be more clear, to understand this more clearly, see, the government is not partial towards any citizen, right? Whoever obeys the laws of the government are allowed to live freely in the country. Others are put in the jail. So the law-abiding citizens are very dear to the government. Why? Does it mean that they are partial? No. Those who are not obeying the laws, they are being punished accordingly, right? Also, when you take the university of the example, like, it's impartial to all the students, but those who are obedient and those who are very inquisitive and those who want to study well, those who want to give good attendance, those who pass the degree, they are given, like, they are very, very dear to the university, right? Similarly, Krishna is also dear towards all the living entities, right? But for Him, the devotees are very, very, very special to Him. So it doesn't mean that others are not favored or Krishna hates others or nothing like that, So like in the examples we saw, the garment example and the university example. Similarly, Krishna devotees are very special, right? But He is always friend to all the living entities, right? So, moving forward, for even when we were kids, we used to play a God game, right? Or play toy kids, toys for kids, what do they, small toys will be there. So the kids used to cook in that vessels, small vessels, tiny vessels, and they used to play with the artificial kitchen sets, right? So and finally, what, they become very tired after playing with that, and they think that is a real food, like noodles, pasta, everything they make, but ultimately, do they eat the own food which they prepare? No. What they do? They go to the reality, they go back to their mother and they ask, I'm very hungry, I'm very tired after playing, so give me the food, right? So similarly, we have to go back to the reality. Our mother, father is Krishna, right? So we are in this material world, like a palace made with these artificial blocks, Lego blocks, which I was saying, the play toys which the children play. But actually, we can't be happy without the Lord. That is the reality. So we are spiritual by nature, and we can't be happy in spite of so many material things around us, so many facilities. So we can't be, because we are spiritual by nature. So where is our real home? Our real home is Krishna. Where is Golok Vrindavan, right? As you can see in the image, right? Our real home is a Golok Vrindavan. When we understand Jivera Swarupa Hai Krishnere Nitya Das. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord. Surrender and be the obedient follower of the Lord. Then our miseries come to the end. You know, and this whole material world serves as a reminder. You know, and in Bhagavad Gita we have seen in the 8th chapter it comes in the 15th Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, right? And also in the 9th chapter 33 verse Anityam Ashukam Lokam. You know, the Creator Himself tags this place as the place of misery. You know, the place of unhappiness, right? So then why are we searching our happiness here? That is a real thing to ponder, pause and ponder. And then and once we transform our attitude, instead of being rebellious, that Krishna is a real eternal father, when in that example we saw the toys example, the mother cooks the real food, only then we are really happy, right? How much ever we efforts, how much ever we play, how much ever fun we have, how much ever we cook, we try to cook, and we can't eat that food, that is not real. So similarly, our loving father is Sri Krishna. He's not a strict father. He's very, very, very simple. He wants nothing from us. Everything he's providing us. Everything belongs to him, right? So he just wants a sincere mood, a love and devotion. That's it, right? So in this world we are on a never-ending journey. You know, we have been wandering in this material world away from Sri Krishna for uncountable number of years, isn't it? Sometimes we travel to the upper planetary systems to enjoy the good karma. Sometimes we are compelled to go to the lower planetary system to suffer a bad karma. Sometimes we are human. Sometimes we have a non-human body also. Sometimes we live on land. Sometimes we live on water, sky. You know, the dollops of happiness given to us during our travels hardly give any joy. In fact, it brings more frustration. Just as the water of the ocean cannot quench our thirst, the allurements of this material world, it cannot satiate our hearts. It cannot satisfy our hearts. You know, we are the true residents. Our eternal home is, we are the true residents of the spiritual world. Just like a fish out of the water, it always remains miserable, out of the water. Similarly, as long as we are away from our eternal spiritual father, spiritual home, we continue to suffer. So Krishna gives the opportunity to each one of us to come back to him and live with him in his beautiful, beautiful kingdom, right? So in the 88.16 verse, Krishna says, let me read out, Abrahma bhuvana lokah punar avartino arjuna mam upetyatu kaunteya punar janmana vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world, Krishna says, down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Right? Such a beautiful verse. Krishna guarantees in this verse that you come to my abode where there is no suffering at all. Right? And I will just reflect, I've reflected on a small story for you, very interesting story, a soul's journey to the kingdom of God. Okay, so this is like Sanatana Goswami. He beautifully narrates the journey of the soul to the kingdom of God. The devotee is Gopakumar. Okay, the story is about Gopakumar and Sri Krishna. Gopakumar, he goes back to the Golok Vrindavan. He goes back to Krishna. We are going to see that. Actually, Gopakumar, he got an opportunity to go back to the spiritual world. Just like us, he was also in this material world. But unlike us, he consciously decided to leave this material world and go to the spiritual world to end all his sufferings. He was in that state, enough is enough, So no longer he wanted to suffer the pain and the pleasures of this world. He has had enough of everything. So as soon as he thought that, he was talking to Krishna, he wanted to go, and he immediately grabbed the opportunity with great enthusiasm. And, he was very confident in the Supreme Lord, and he went to this destination, his destination, Golok Vrindavan. On his way, he went to the higher planets also, where there were a lot of opportunities, for sense gratification and other things, but he wasn't happy there at all. So from there, he went to the spiritual world, to Vaikunta, Ayodhya, Dwaraka. There he met the spiritual residents who were as glorious as the Supreme Lord, and they were in utter bliss, unlimited joy, and they were in complete perfection. But still he was missing something. He missed Krishna basically. He missed Sri Krishna. He missed the Brajavasis. He missed the residents of Vrindavana. He was dissatisfied. And he was longed to be with Sri Krishna. And the celestial plane, which travelled faster than the speed of the mind, travelling along a wonderful path, took Gopakumar to that glorious land, which is the topmost of all the spiritual planets. Right? So Gopakumar arrives in Golok Vrindavan. Okay? Gopakumar arrives in Golok Vrindavan. The sages and saints, they meditate for thousands of years just to get a glimpse of that land. But Gopakumar, what he wanted to see Krishna. So he began searching to Krishna. He saw the Brajvasis there, most exalted devotees. He inquired from them also about Krishna. Where is Sri Krishna? I want to meet him. I have come with a heavy heart, he said. He who has stolen our hearts, he left with his friends and cows. That Brajavasi said. With his friends and cows in the morning to the forest to enjoy his pastimes. Unable to bear separation from Krishna, the Brajavasis were with great difficulty. Some even composed songs remembering his Krishna's pastimes during the day. And songs during the day. And many got busy in preparing the delicious preparations to serve him as soon as he returns. So, like this, everyone, they were engaged in different activities. Everyone tried their best to hide their emotions. And tears constantly flowed from their eyes and kept calling Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Very difficult to understand whether they were really in bliss or in pain. They are crying. So they were desperately waiting for Krishna to return to their forest, and all ran towards the shore of Yamuna. So Gopakumar was also present there. So there, what happens? Krishna welcomes Gopakumar to his abode, Golok Vrindavan. So suddenly, the atmosphere filled with melodious, as you can see in the image, melodious sound of the flute. Yamuna stopped flowing, birds flying in the air, stood still, trees decorated, gopis carrying the pots. The great pain of separation, they all cried again and again. And Yashodama with the husband Nanda Maharaj, Radharani with her friends, all were anxiously waiting to have a glimpse of Krishna. Suddenly the bluish boy in yellow garments appeared, decorated with forest flowers and crown made of peacock feathers. And Krishna's arrived, the celebration time now, and Krishna was so happy to see everyone there. After the whole day of work, he was back home. So Krishna's joy was multiplied, manifold. He was very happy to see Gopakumar. So Krishna left everything in Vrindavan and stopped playing the flute. He left, leaving the cows, his friends. He leaped towards Gopakumar and he embraced him. And said, "My dear friend, after a long time I'm seeing you." He was overwhelmed with emotion, fainted. In fact, he unconsciously, he felt unconscious in the laps of Gopakumar, in the arms of Gopakumar. After gaining consciousness, Krishna took the hand of Gopakumar in his lotus hand and inquired, "How are you, my dear friend? I missed you so much." Sarupa, because here his original name in the spiritual world is Swarupa. But he forgot it. Gopakumar forgot his name, but Krishna reminded him, and he remembered, and he told. So I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful that you are back. I was waiting. Now please stay here, don't go anywhere, he tells to Gopakumar. He forgot his own name, it was Swarupa, but Krishna remembered. So Swarupa got reunited with Krishna and his spiritual family in the spiritual world to live eternally and blissfully. All glories to the spiritual world, right? Where every word is a song and every step is a dance, and where there's no need of any electricity, artificial, it's self-illumined, as you can see in all the beautiful images, right? So Sanatana Goswami, he says that he's reciting this story and he's inviting us all, are we ready? That is a big question mark here. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful story of Gopakumar. And I think that's it. To conclude, in the Bhagavad Gita verses, Krishna says, "Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nashyatra samshayah. Krishna says, whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attain my nature. Of this there is no doubt. And also in the 6th verse, chapter 8, Krishna says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajyat ante khalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sadha tad bhava bhavitah. So whatever state of being one remembers, Krishna says, when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Right? So very beautiful verses we saw. So therefore, the chanting of this, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is what is is the best process for successfully changing our state of being at the end of one's life. Right? Krishna says here, beautifully explains. And so, this material world created by Shri Krishna to enable us to fulfill our desire to be happy, away from Krishna, separate from God, is a place of misery, we saw. So there is no happiness here. So the happiness is in the spiritual world, right? The abode of Shri Krishna, where everyone is engaged in their natural, constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. So the suffering and pain of this world should serve as a reminder to us that this is not a nice place, it's not our real home. Our real home is the spiritual world, the abode of Shri Krishna, Krishna Lok, or Golok Vrindavan, right? Hari Bol. So a thoughtful person or intelligent person, a wise person will see the sufferings of this world and ask the question, is there a way to end the suffering? And such questions are the beginning of the spiritual life and beginning of the actual human life, we can say. So the Vedic way of life, my dear friends and devotees, I would like to conclude here by saying today's video is plain living and high thinking. Prabhupada always used to say this, almost all his lectures. Plain living and high thinking. We should live simply, so we can provide our body with the necessary food to maintain it, and use the time and energy to develop the Krishna consciousness, so that we go back to our real home, back to Godhead. Then we will be really, really happy. Right? So with that, hope you enjoyed this video and the story as much as I did. Catch you all with another beautiful motivational video. Until then, thank you. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.